Hello, champion parents out there, and welcome to Mommy Talk, where we provide information and resources that inspire positive parental engagement. We just want to take a moment to thank all of our followers, all of the people who support Mommy Talk, and we really appreciate you. And
We
for the
really do.
come talk to us. Come talk to us.
Come talk to us.
And let us know what you think through any of our social media platforms. Today, we celebrate the final week of Alcohol Awareness Month. However, the practices and resources must go on. Yes. Let us welcome back our panel, Miss April. Go ahead and wave to the camera. Miss Lisa, wave to the camera. And myself, Dr. Pert.
Woohoo!
Let us please give a warm welcome to our brother whom we love dearly and respect, the Prevention Man. Hey!
Hey!
That's right, the Prevention Man.
Hey.
Happy to be thug and drug free.
You better believe it.
That's right. If you don't know him in the city, you need to know him. Prevention Man is doing great things for our city's youth and families. Welcome, Prevention Man.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pert, for having me.
Yes, COVID-19 is real, and we must figure ways to survive and keep it moving. Speaking about preventative measures, substance abuse prevention, and life online during this pandemic. So that would be the conversation today. So COVID-19 is real, and we must figure out ways to survive and keep it moving. Speaking about preventative measures, today we will talk about substance abuse prevention and life online during this pandemic with the expert Prevention Man.
Prevention Man.
How y'all doing?
We are great. How are you?
Hey, you guys are beautiful.
You're beautiful too.
Thank you.
So we're happy to have you during this last week of Alcohol Awareness Month, and but it doesn't mean that the awareness stops. And I know that that's what you are going to stress today, that it doesn't stop. You know, we're just in a celebratory month, but we must keep going. So can you give us a little 411 Prevention Man about what you do?
Okay, basically, hello everyone again. I am the Prevention Man. My employer is NCADD. That's the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, Greater Detroit area. I manage a program called STEPS in conjunction with STEPS Radio for NCADD. The radio broadcast, STEPS Radio, has been around for about 9 years now. It's a weekly broadcast on WMKM, and it's our show every Tuesday. Be sure to tune in 7 to 8 p.m. That's one of the things I do, but also manage a after-school program called STEPS. STEPS stands for Strong Teens Excelling in Prevention Services, and it's been around for about 20 years.
Okay, where is your location?
We're currently on the east side, and we service all of Wayne County and beyond.
Okay.
Our mission is young minds practicing prevention in America.
Okay.
Amen.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, Prevention Man, why are these conversations of prevention necessary?
So it's very important now, especially during the pandemic, because you think about the mind and the disposition of young people, teenagers. They've never gone through anything like this before. They're used to being seeing their friends 6, 7 hours, 8 hours a day, some more, being away from the home, socializing, being in school. So it's different. There's a lot of kids out there that may be freaking out. Some of our kids, unfortunately, are a little more gullible than others. So they may be experimenting with things. Say, for example, if mom or dad are essential workers and they're away from the home right now, they could be experimenting with some things. If they don't have those tools taught to you by a STEPS program, a Mommy Talk program, an after-school program, or another 501c3 that specializes in mental health or just peer pressure and things like that. So it's very important to continue prevention education even during a pandemic. Young people need to know that adults care about them, they're concerned about them, and how they feel does matter.
Yeah, and we definitely appreciate you, Prevention Man. We know on Tuesdays and Thursdays you make yourself available for Family Feud, which you all enjoy, and you of course include the younger generation as well as the older generation, like Lisa.
Definitely.
I'm getting ready to agree. I'm like, oh my goodness. So thank you, the ever so young Miss April. Prevention Man, can you tell us a little bit about the Family Feud?
So we're proud of Prevention Family Feud. It's a part of our telehealth services. A lot of you guys that may still have to go to work, they do telehealth services. Let's say if you're going to your doctor's appointment, if it's something that's not pressing, you're not going to the hospital right now, you can make an appointment with your doctor doing telehealth. It's a telehealth. So basically what we do is we go on Facebook Live every Tuesday and Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyone can play. They join the Steps Radio group, our large group. We let them in. And we have pivotal questions that pertain to life. And we ask these questions, and the participants get an opportunity to type in their answers as fast or as quickly as they can.
Yeah. So that's a step toward mentoring and therapy and trying to help people cope during these times. That is an online service. And I know that you've already kind of answered this question, but I'm going to ask it again, as far as people being more prone to illegal and legal substances at this time. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think one of the reasons, Ms. Lisa, is you have a lot of free time on your hand. Mm-hmm. You know what they say about an idle mind. You really, the cliche, but you really have to keep an eye on young people. And
no, I'm sorry, I don't know what the cliche is. Must be an old thing.
Look at my look.
It says an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
And I just point out, these people always talking. Let me just say this, and I don't care what part of the 90s we graduated in. We are graduated in the 90s. So,
hello.
Next.
You know what? I'm just glad to be here.
Amen.
We're glad to have you.
And, I don't mind. People take shots all the time. I guess you have to have thick.
Yes, tough skin.
In this business, you really do. But yeah, I think, Ms. Lisa, to answer your question a little more succinctly, is a lot of free time. And teenagers, for example, or preteens don't have the coping mechanisms or the coping skills of an adult.
Yeah.
And this may be very frustrating times for young people. And they need the reassurance. They need to know that someone has their back.
Right.
They need to know that they matter still. I was just thinking about this, thinking about some of the questions pre-show. And, you think about what is school? What is school? Mm-hmm. And you guys are educators, so you know what school is and how important school is. But if you I know a lot of things are online now, but if you take away the after-school services, you take away the sports, you take away the dance, you take away the friendship, the social life of school, and you just have school left, school becomes a very dark, gloomy, sad place.
Yeah.
So it's a rough time for young people, and I can just imagine, a lot of kids that are not going outside, especially when parents are not at home, and they really shouldn't be going out because of the pandemic. They should be practicing social distancing again because of the pandemic. It's rough. That's not easy. We never went. I know I've never gone through anything like that in all my years.
You know, and that's the thing about everything that's going on right now. It's that everybody is going through the same thing, you know. And we had a video talent show today. So shout out to Osborne High School. We had a video talent show, and one of my students would not turn off her microphone, but you could keep her. You know, I kept hearing her say, I miss school, you know, dang, I miss school. And then she started saying stuff about one of the teachers with his bald head self, but I love him though. You know, and it's like, I want to tell her, please mute your mic, you know, but the stuff she was saying is like, wow, you know, you just never know what type of things, and they need support. They definitely need support, which you obviously do. So we know that the young kids will partake in the substances abuse, but we also, I know you guys do things as far as supporting parents as well, right? Or families.
Yes, we have a fantastic program called Strengthening Families. The program is free.
I like that name. Say it again.
Strengthening Families. And it's free. It's a 7-week program, but at the end, we raffle off a large screen, flat color television. And it's really, really nice. We've done the program several times, and the feedback has just been awesome. So what we're trying to do now is figure out a way to bring that online, where it's virtual, because you have a student component for Strengthening Families, ages 10 to 14, and you have a parent component, and then you have a family component when they all come together. So. You know, it's somewhat of a dilemma, but I believe that where there's a will, there's a way. We could definitely do that.
Absolutely. So one of the things you guys do with Strengthening Families, you all have dinner together. And I know that was, you know, so are you trying to figure out ways to, you know, you can't do the physical dinner right now, but.
We can do that. We can, you know, I wasn't really thinking about that. I was thinking more or less about the coming together virtually.
Yeah. Well, that's dinner. That's kind of dinner for the soul.
Yeah. But also, I think one of the biggest concerns is how the kids can be in their space and speak freely, you know, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without mom or dad looking over, or whoever is in that home, you know, that home unit.
Yeah.
They won't be feeling a little apprehensive about saying this or that, and still getting what this evidence-based program has to offer.
Wow.
So Prevention Man, I do have a question. So if I'm a parent and I come home and I find my child doing some type of illegal substance, what type of response should I give?
Yeah. So first of all, you know, I really believe it's going to be dependent on the type of parent you are and the type of child that is. You know, if this is a student or a child that is constantly in some problems, you may want to check out counseling. But if this person is repentant or you know, sorry for what they've done, you know, I believe you should go with that, because a lot of times it's just peer pressure. The kids are just, we've all done some dumb things in our, you know, our teenage years. So you have to really fill it out, Dr. Pert. And then if you feel that more services are warranted, call NCADD, 313-868-1340, and say, hey, I'm trying to inquire about some services for this teen or the preteen. We have a plethora of services, not just the STEPS program. You know, 10, 15 years ago, we were really competitive about our program, very protective about our kids, you know, the STEPS program, but NCADD offers a number of youth services. You have Celebrating Families. That's more on the adult side, but it's for the whole family. It can be for the whole family. It's for people that haven't even started families yet. Strengthening Families is an evidence-based program, the NCADD. You also have the Healthy Zone program. That's our first federally funded program. It's really, really nice. You can find the Healthy Zone program online, Facebook. You won't see it on NCADD's website, NCADD-Detroit.org. You won't see it yet because it's a really new program and we're rebuilding the website. But the Healthy Zone program is on Facebook. You also have the safety program. It's a program that's been around almost as long as the STEPS program. And it's really, really good. Dr. Carl Diabro, he is really patient. He works with a lot of kids at King, but we take kids all around the county. And then, of course, you have the STEPS program, my favorite, my baby. We work with kids. This is what you're going to get, though, when a parent makes that call, Dr. Perk. You're going to get a professional adult who cares. That's the main thing. They care. We really, really care about our families. We really, really care about our kids. And essentially, your children become our children. And we were just talking about, myself and Limber, the co-host of the Prevention Family Feud, we was talking about doing a STEPS reunions. I don't want to put it out there. I don't want to start it too early, but we go back about 20 years. So, and she and I worked together about 17 or 18 years on Limber. And you may hear her voice on Prevention Family Feud, so definitely check us out Tuesdays and Thursdays too. I got to put those shameless plugs in. But we're thinking about doing a STEPS program reunion, and because some of our kids have done some phenomenal things, even beyond college, beyond graduating from college, they've done some excellent things, and we're very, very proud of all our young people.
That's good. So if I hear you, you're basically saying for parents not to overreact.
No.
And get to the root. Why is their child, doing the substance abuse? And if they feel like it's a problem or they need more information, they can call your program. And what's that number again?
313-868-1340. Give us a call. And then we have another line 24/7, 313-649-PUSH. And you just basically say which program you're interested in, and we'll relay that message. That's 313-649-PUSH. It's 313-649-7874.
And I think that's important. Thank you for sharing that information, because I know it's a lot of parents out there where their children have admitted, like, hey, I'm doing drugs, or I tried drugs. And it's like sometimes the parent just doesn't have the answer, or they don't know how to respond. So providing that resource for parents is a good thing.
Yes.
Definitely. Absolutely. And then the parent, again, just being in that situation, it's frustrating, because you're afraid for your child. You don't want them to go down, a bad road. So definitely thank you for sharing that. So is there a income level that the parent has to be in? You know how a lot of things are for low income when it deals with free services or a different type of services?
That's a great question. No, there's no income requirement. In the past, we've had to service a certain portion of our families had to be low income. They had to receive some sort of aid. But now, no, that is no requirement for strengthening families, celebrating families, healthy zones, safety steps. There is no income requirement.
Okay. And I do have a question, because we know how things are very trendy. So my thing is, what are the drugs that parents should be aware of?
Yeah, so the big one, the grandfather of them all really is still alcohol. There's a lot of glamorization around marijuana usage, cannabis usage, and vaping. A lot of attention has been given to those two things: vaping, marijuana, vaping, tobacco. But alcohol is the one that you really have to watch out for. It's the most accessible, most popular, and most abused, actually, according to the statistics. So parents, especially young parents, have to be very, very careful where they place alcohol, especially in this day and age of a pandemic, when kids are spending all of their time at home. So, it's not like, all right, they're gone for 7-8 hours, no. All their hours, all their time is at home, unless they're going to the grocery store with mom or dad. So alcohol, it has to really be watched carefully. Back in the day, certain bottles, they would put a little mark on the bottles to indicate what was left or whatever, because parents, utilize that. NCADD is a dry agency. We're not against people drinking alcohol if you're old enough to do so.
Right.
Wait, is that alcohol in that bottle?
No, this is alkaline water, but no. So yeah, we're not against, people drinking alcohol if you're old enough to do so. We're totally against underage drinking though. And we know that the stats show that if we could delay use from young people, we could delay use by young people, they're less likely to develop a problem or an addiction. So that's what's very important. Young parents need to know that they need to lock it up, put it up, just like your meds, your prescription meds. Lock it up, put it up, lock it up. Yeah, so.
Do you all advise parents as far as signs, if they're, I know Dr. Perk mentioned if a parent was to come home or was to catch a child in the act, but do you all advise, warning signs? Like how can you detect that, something is going on with your child?
Oh, definitely. There are some telltale signs. But the first and foremost thing, you have to know your child. You need to know their behaviors, how they act. You have to watch them carefully. When they start being withdrawn, you need to be on top of that. You need to know why. If they've experienced some sort of breakup, some sort of social issue, right now it's online. And that could be very, very well a point of stress for them because kids are used to, like I said earlier, they're used to that social life, socializing. Yeah. Coming in contact with one another, kidding each other, touching each other, and things like that. Hopefully not a whole lot of touching, but you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if a child is beginning to be withdrawn, marijuana is kind of easy for the most part. There's a smell unless you get some very, very expensive designer.
Look. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I know my students, I was like, how can you tell if somebody's smoking marijuana? Because this is my sons for younger. I was like, how can you tell? And my students used to be like, well, see if they lick their lips. If they talking, licking their lips, that's a sign. I was like, oh. So I went and was talking to Seth and Caleb. I was looking at their lips. They're like, what are you looking at?
No, you know what? Marijuana for years, there's a smell associated with marijuana.
Yeah.
Spray and spray. If you got a good sniffer like myself, it's hard to disguise. A lot of kids in my program down through the years, because my lips were a little darker, they swore up and down that I was smoking.
Prevention, man, you hit the little twig.
That's exactly what they said too.
Actually, hilarious. But listen, no, I've never done that. And I think it's a testament that it can be done. You can live a drug-free life.
That's right.
Mine is, void of illegal substances and be happy and be content with yourself. So
yes, you can.
Again, to answer that question, those telltale signs, there's not one giveaway other than some of the smells. And then even if you do smell it, if you smell marijuana, it doesn't necessarily mean they've used it. They could have been around someone who used.
Yeah, because it's very strong.
Very strong. You talk about the skunk, the chronic, the different types of marijuana. It's very, very hard to disguise. However, there are more expensive brands of marijuana that has no smell. It has absolutely no smell, so you wouldn't know that way. So again, you have to know your child. You have to keep those lines of communication open so they'll tell you things, And I'm gonna say this too. Prevention Man wasn't always a good boy. I did some things that I shouldn't have done.
Well, I would never imagine. I could not imagine.
Oh yeah, I was a clown. I clown. I did some things that I'm not proud of.
Was?
Yeah. Say again.
I was just pointing out when you say you were.
Yes, I was. Yeah, I did some things I should have never done. Let me just say this, because I'm going to throw something at you. One of those things was trusting my mom, because my mom took me to the police station. Yes. And I remember having to give an answer for things that I had done, because I confided in my mom, and my big brother was saying, don't do it, don't do it. And she changed on me like night and day. And now, let me just say this, though. It has to be a level of trust. A child should be able to come to a mom or dad and confide in them confidentially about troubles or problems or dirt that they've done or committed or whatever. And I felt betrayed, because here I am now, we're going to different group homes and things like that. I'm like, oh man, this lady's about to put me away. So it didn't come to that. It didn't come to that. And I thank God it didn't. But it was spooky, you know what I'm saying, for 11, 12-year-old, 14-year-old, doing some, making some mistakes, following the wrong crowd. It was bad.
There are obvious signs that people think that that's like is definitive of, a child that's abusing, but like everything isn't like a person being fidgety. Sometimes like you pointed out that, and I just want to kind of reiterate that you pointed out that you have to know your child and you have to allow your child to be able to talk to you. And I'm repeating this because I know I always say all the time that you have to watch that wow factor. Dr. Pert, you pointed that out earlier. Again, you have to watch that wow factor, because I have really toned down with my daughter because a lot of times it's like, oh my God, why would you do that? What's wrong with you? And so I always say, you have to watch the wow factor. But some things, of course, like I said, they're not so obvious, or we always look for somebody that's fidgeting somewhere, maybe they're still.
Listen, wait a minute. I've been fidgeting. I'm like, why am my feet moving? Did y'all notice me moving? I'd be like, well, go ahead. I'm not a drug user, but I'm just saying I'm so fidgety. Go ahead.
And I just wanted to kind of reiterate that again, and it's me, that's me being real relatable and right on time, But I know that I'm a parent who I really, and I say it all the time, my kids call me paranoid sometimes, and I have really toned down. But a lot of it is because we fear, because we don't want our kids to, make certain types of mistakes. We want to protect them as much as we can. Go ahead, Dr. Pert.
So I understand the question, Dr. Pert. Thank you so much for that, Ms. Lisa. We really want our children to succeed. We want them to be successful, not just our own biological kids. We're talking about kids that come into our program. Yes. We want them to come to our classrooms. We want them to be very successful. So I think one of the questions before that question, Dr. Pert, is this something you really want to do? Do you really want to address this head on? And I'm going to tell you why I'm asking that question first and foremost, because a lot of parents are using themselves. So it's, they say the apple, the cliche about the apple falling from the tree.
Tell it again, because Dr. Pert gonna say she don't know. So
the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree. Now, some parents may be a little hesitant to have that straight up and down conversation with their kids because you're trying to teach me to do as I say and not as I do. And it's very difficult. That's very difficult. Kids, we're all at home, okay? Nothing, you can't hide. The kids there 24 hours a day. Parents are there 24 hours a day unless they're essential workers. So it's hard to do cloak and dagger thing. It's hard to do that dog and pony show with your kids, even though you don't want them to do some of the things you're doing. So that is where a program like STEPS comes in. That's where a third party can come in. Because I know I did some bad things coming up. I don't want my kids to repeat those same mistakes. Okay. If I was a smoker, I wouldn't want my kids to smoke. You understand what I'm saying?
Understood.
So that is a bigger question because it begins and sort of ends with the parents. Parenting is so very important because you could raise a Barack Obama, or you could turn around and raise a Ted Bundy. I mean, that's a crazy analogy, but it's true. It's true. The kids are products of parenting. They're products of parenting. They're products of experiences that parents have allowed in the household and beyond. What are they doing after school? Where have they been for the last 2 hours? School let out at 3:30. Okay, now it's 5:30. Where have they been? You have to have that accountability. You have to know where your kids are at all times. And it's easy during a pandemic because everybody's at home. But that's just something I think should be addressed first and foremost, Dr. Pert. But
Thank you.
That, yeah, okay. But after that,
thank you for that. But I just want to also add to that. I do feel that people are products of their environment and what they how they grew up. But at the end of the day, there does come an age where you can take responsibility for your own life and look around and say, hey, I want to make a change. And that change may not be easy, but it's up to you. If you don't like your circumstance, you cannot blame it on your keep continuously to blame it on your past. I think that people have to get up, get out, and do something.
So you have either caught your child in the act or you either suspect, and so then you address the situation. How do you handle resistance?
So you want to address it first, try to get in the psyche, try to figure out why they did what they did, and then there has to be some consequences. And some of the consequences have to be tiered severity. It doesn't have to be just throw the whole kitchen sink at the child. You know, I'm not necessarily saying get physical, but you have to know your child. And I recommend taking away something that they really like. And you know, in my household, the cell phone was one of them. But you know, didn't have a whole lot of that. However, you have to know your child in order to know what to remove or take away, so you could so they can learn the lesson, because there's a lesson behind it. What I used to tell my kids a lot was that, you know, you're leaders, and you're not meant to be on the sideline. You're meant to be on the forefront. And if you're doing this, that, or another, that's going to push you to the sideline. That's going to put you in a different category that you're not going to want to be in there. You don't want to be in a box. You don't want to box yourself in by becoming adjudicated, for example. That means, you know, being arrested or whatever. And you kind of miss out on a lot of luxuries in life because you're put away. You don't want that. You don't want to be on the sideline for a certain period of your life. You want to live your full life, your best life. Yeah.
Yes, and great point, that you have to have consequences, because, and I'm glad you said that, because sometimes parents think that the best way to get something out of a child is to either rough them up, or it doesn't always have to resort to that, you know, and consequences, they do work if you, and it's not necessarily bargaining, but teaching a child that they have to work for certain things, and it's teaching responsibilities. So thank you. I appreciate all of that.
I want to add too, Ms. Lisa, house rules are very important. Maybe some work to design them, and we teach that in the Strengthening Families program, but make those house rules. Those house rules are very important.
Definitely is. Yeah.
Yes, some consistency and organization.
You have to be consistent.
You have some follow through so they can know what their consequences are.
Yes, and some follow through. Yes. Note to self. Okay. So we know that you shared a lot of resources as far as locally, but also, like, I know that there's different, like, 1-800 numbers. Like, could you just give us a quick rundown real quick?
So let me reiterate this. NCADD, the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, Greater Detroit area, is a part of a national agency, it's a national organization, And even the programs that I talked about, these are on the prevention side of the spectrum. I work on the prevention side. And I tell people that, if I do my job, I do it well, kids won't have to see the other side, which is treatment or recovery. They remain in prevention. And so NCADD as a program is an agency that offers prevention, but it also offers treatment and recovery. And treatment is for someone, you say you walk in on that child and they're just gone. They're to the point where they can't stop drinking what they're drinking, or they can't stop smoking what they're smoking, or they can't stop popping the pills that they're popping. They're gonna need intervention. They're gonna need a treatment intervention. And that's handled at NCADD on a national level. And they can get that help. But you would have to look at your local listings for the agencies in your area. If you're not in the Metro Detroit area, you would have to check out your local listings to get those services. A lot of parents, especially young parents, they may go right to the police department, and that's the wrong road unless you want the child to become adjudicated. But
they will arrest.
Say again.
No, I said that they will try to, press charges or bring up charges, and that's what we don't want.
And a lot of times,
if a situation is that severe, where the child may have extreme violent, behaviors, then you got to go for what you know.
Right, and a lot of times those things, that record can't be expunged.
Yeah.
So we recommend parents take an early role in it before the child gets involved with something that they can't come back from, especially like a violent offense. And in the day of a pandemic, that could very well spell a death sentence, because there's a lot of people in jail right now that have contracted COVID-19, and they're not going to get the same care on the outside as they would inside. And there's a lot of people dying. So I just wanted to put that out there.
So can you please provide some inspiration, some final thoughts, some coping mechanisms? And I'm just throwing 3 things in there real quick, because you're a poet, so I know you can handle it.
Yeah. I want to give this quick piece called Shortcut, but one thing is, you have to be content with yourself. You have to be cozy and comfortable with the skin that you're in. Get to know yourself, spend some time in the mirror if you have to. Don't be so driven by peer pressure. I know that's hard, we all have our peer pressure, but you just have to resist peer pressure. Sometimes peer pressure can be good, especially if they're trying to pressure you to do something right. But peer pressure is always kind of associated with something negative, but you have to be above that. You have to be prepared, and you have to be comfortable with who you are. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy to be thug and drug free.
I'm happy to be thug and drug free.
I'm happy to be thug and drug free.
Awesome.
I am happy to be thug and drug free.
Awesome.
So thank you, Prevention Man and Champion Parents, for your continued support. You can visit our website for information and resources as we work diligently to keep all our platforms up to date. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, and our website at www.mommietalk.com. The remedy, let me leave you with a final quote written by Yana Van Zandt. The remedy for life's broken pieces is not classes, workshops, or books. Don't try to heal the broken pieces, just forgive.